Good morning, beloveds. We had a front come through with very high winds, and it's still pretty gusty out there right now, but it dropped the temperature like 30 degrees. I think it was 80 yesterday, and it's in the 50s now. Well, it's probably up in the 60s by now. So we're going to have the mid 70 today, maybe low 70. So it's nice. Our weather's kind of back to a more normal for a couple of days. So it is March 3rd. March came in like a lion. I am grateful for spiritual awareness. The first quote is, "Have I not commanded thee, be strong and of good courage, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the presence thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest." And that is Joshua 1:9. The second quote is, "There should be a constant joy in expansion, an enthusiastic sense of adventure in the progressive unfoldment of spiritual awareness. It is enough to know that our good is with us today, that tomorrow this same good can be multiplied, and so on forever." And that is Science of Mind, page 61. Once we learn the prayer technique taught by Ernest Holmes, called spiritual mind treatment, we can use this method to heal whatsoever problem we may face, and we begin to realize that there was never any reason to experience poor health, misery, lack, or limitation. Our good increases, and enthusiasm replaces our former restlessness and boredom. As fear and anxiety fall away, we become strengthened by God within us. We look forward to each new day with a joyful expectancy, and our life is filled with great rewards. We meet more interesting people, we find more exciting things to do, we discover that annoyances disappear from our experiences. Sure, it takes work to achieve spiritual awareness. Though all heavenly gifts have been given to everyone, they are forced on no one. We must accept them by shaking ourselves awake to the realization that we are each expressions of the one life, which is magnificent in every respect. Until we do so, however, we shall continue to live as in a dream, feeling buffeted by the winds of fate. It's a quote from somewhere. I am profoundly grateful for divine guidance in my life. I now know and accept that I am heir to all that God is, and I look forward eagerly to each new day with joy and gratitude." And that is MD. Hold on, I don't remember MD. Let me look it up really quick. Mary Donnelson. All right. So Mary is referencing the spiritual mind treatment. And one of the things when you learn about spiritual mind treatment in Science of Mind, first thing that we always remind you is that basically Ernest didn't create this. What Ernest did was he went back, and he was a big fan of the Bible, read it a lot, probably memorized a whole lot of it. But what he noticed is there was a specific way that Jesus prayed. And he said, well, if it's good enough for Jesus, then it should be good enough for us. So that's where the 5 or 7 steps came from. He said, you know what? Jesus recognizes that there's one presence. He recognizes that he's part of that presence. He recognizes, and then he's grateful and lets go. He recognizes that he's not the one doing the work. Okay. And then there's that whole step in there about recognition. Now, the interesting thing about Science of Mind is that when we teach spiritual mind treatment, when we teach affirmative prayer, one of the things that we remind you is that you are not going to God and begging and pleading. You are not trying to change God. The purpose of the prayer, the purpose of the treatment is to come into alignment with God. The prayer is meant to change the prayer, not the prayee. Okay? We are not going to God to ask for something. What we are doing is we are reminding ourselves that there's one, that we are made of the one, by the one, and that the power that made us flows through us because it's what made us. And that when we align with that power, with those qualities of God, that anything is possible. That anything is possible. Anything that we desire, if it is in alignment with God, then we can have. That's it. The prayer changes the prayer, not the other way around. We do not pray to change God. We pray to align with God. We pray to align with Spirit. We pray to align with our good. We pray to remind ourselves who we are. That's the purpose of prayer. And that is what what was our title today? Spiritual awareness is. That's what spiritual awareness is. Being aware of who you are and how prayer works. That is why we do not beg. That is why we do not plead. Because the goal is to change us. We are not going on our knees to a deity outside of ourselves and begging that deity to change. We're not to change. We are not begging and pleading for that deity to change its mind. Because the mind it uses is the same mind we use. What we are doing is coming into alignment with that. We are checking in with that alignment and saying, all right, this is the good that I desire. Is it in alignment with the qualities of good? Is it in alignment with the qualities of God? And am I in alignment with the qualities of good? I'm going to say it one more time, because the title is I'm Grateful for Spiritual Awareness. Spiritual mind treatment changes the prayer. It's kind of earth-shattering, isn't it? To realize that we are not begging and pleading a deity to change its mind. What we are doing is reminding ourselves who we are and bringing ourselves into alignment with our own good. And I'm just going to leave it there. All right? The mission today, should we choose to accept it? The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is that we are heir to all that God is, and that we are aware of that. Okay? That's the mission. Know who you are. Know who you are. Know who made you. Know whose you are. As Sandy Newkirk likes to say. Know whose you are. That's the mission. All right. I am going to remind you to do the second part, which is the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. It is as simple as taking a deep breath before you speak. And I say that, and I want to remind you that when I say that, most of the time I mean when you speak to other people. But occasionally it's a good idea to take a deep breath before we speak to ourselves. Because sometimes some of the things that we say to ourselves are not in alignment with that spiritual awareness. I've heard the way I talk to myself. Many years ago, I heard the way I was talking to myself, and I went, this is not okay. And I got myself into therapy. So, when you take that deep breath before you speak, I also mean take that deep breath before you speak to yourself. How you speak to yourself says a lot about your consciousness. And if you are not speaking kindly to yourself, compassionately to yourself, gently to yourself, lovingly to yourself, that is definitely something to work on. So, I also encourage you, when I say practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, it looks like taking a nap. It looks like taking a walk. It looks like taking a day of rest. It looks like sleeping in a little bit, or it might look like getting up a little early. It might look like taking care of all of those little tasks that you kind of let, go when big things are going on. It is about self-care. Absolutely about self-care. My goal in mentioning it every day is to remind you that you deserve your own love, you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. It is about creating a habit where your first response, no matter what happens, is loving, kind, and compassionate. It is reminding you that you're your own best test subject. If you want to be loving, kind, and compassionate to the world, test it on yourself. I mean, you deserve your own love. You deserve your own kindness. You deserve your own compassion, but you're also going to get immediate feedback. Was that as loving and kind and compassionate as I hoped it was? Well, no, but if I do this, maybe. All right? Practice on yourself. Practice on yourself. That's why we're called practitioners. Practitioners, because we practice constantly, every day. All right. It also is about making room for joy. I talk about treatment changing the prayer changing the prayer. That's the same thing with this. If you practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, you're making room for joy. No matter what's going on in the world, you deserve joy. It is one of the qualities of God. It is one of the qualities of you. Make room for it. And so it looks like eating dessert first. It looks like wearing the nice clothes. It also looks like wearing comfortable clothes. It looks like bringing out the nice glasses and the nice china and the nice silverware for random occasions, or even all the time. Your life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. I encourage that. All right. I will also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, unless today is your day of rest. I encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is important. Your brain works better when it is hydrated. And if you're going to take on that mind-blowing task of realizing that prayer changes the prayer, hydrate. Everything works better that way. I also encourage you to get early in your day bright light. It looks like a beautiful sunny day out there. I was in my bathroom in the morning and I was getting this strobe effect. And I was like, what is going on? It's just because the wind's really high and blowing the trees in front of the sun. But it's really cool. So early in your day bright light. I talk about that because it's called a circadian rhythm. It's a hormone balance. Our hormones have a natural cycle. When you get that early in your day bright light, it helps to tick that hormone balance off into its natural rhythm. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. It's just one of those ways that I can help you to have a better day, So I want you to feel as good as possible. And the circadian rhythm is one way to do it. It is science. You can look it up. All right. Moving into the words of Ernest Holmes. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you you live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. So we've talked about the fact that all there is God. And that when we pray, we are bringing ourselves into alignment with God. That's what those words mean. Heaven is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. If we want to find heaven, we want to come into alignment with God. And all of those qualities of God, which are love, kindness, compassion, joy, peace, happiness, all of those. And when we open the windows of our soul and recognize little things like that God is all there is, that every living being is God in motion, then we realize that heaven's a state of mind. It's a way of looking at the world. And it ceases to become a place that we're struggling to get to and becomes any place at the change of a mind. And if we practice, because I talk about being a practitioner, it can become any place. It can become every place. If we want to make a world that works for everyone, there's real work to be done. Making sure that people have enough to eat, that they are fed, that they are clothed, that they feel safe. That's the work to do. But the other part of it, because once those needs are met, then everybody can focus on their spiritual awareness. And they can find that heaven is a state of mind. They can learn to create it for themselves. And that, my friends, that's a superpower. So, I'm never going to tell you there's not real work to do. There's not real material work to do. But heaven, that's what that is. So, let's meet those needs. And then live that example. Okay, moving on into... Oh, let me remind you. When you are looking at opening the windows of your soul, Emma's advice, look for the good and praise it. And I will remind you, no matter what is going on, no matter what situation you have walked into, there is good there because you are there. You bring the good with you. You are the good. You are the good. There's probably a lot of other good, but if you're going to start anywhere, remember you are the good. Okay. I'm going to remind you about the social media. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Please check out the content. We do all work full-time jobs, so sometimes the content can get a little, but we try and, when we see good stuff, we share good stuff. And if you see good stuff that you think we should share, feel free to send it to me. Please. You can email it to info@creativelife.org. You can share it to the running Rev Ryan, and I will share it as far and wide as possible. So, and if you want to know what's going on, I just gave you the email, info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact where we can, and there, my mind goes, it's a constant contact. That way you can know what's going on with the center when my mind goes, sideways. Also, the website is creativelife.org. And there's some interesting changes going on there. So please feel free to check that out. Including you can now get from our website to our YouTube. And there's good stuff on the YouTube. All right. I'm just going to move forward since I just blew myself out of the water. I think I'm at the part where I encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a spiritual awakening day, a spiritual awareness day, a recognizing who you are day, it's Friday. That means I get to go to the park tomorrow day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. As I also like to remind you, you are a brilliant light, a divine spark. You are God in action. You are spirit in motion. You are a godling. Know who you are. Know the truth of your being. All right? Okay. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. I do get to go to the park tomorrow, so yay. It's the simple joys, right? Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.